All right, welcome to Real Life in Real Estate. I'm Nikki Robbs, a real estate agent serving Tacoma, Puyallup, and beyond. And in this podcast episode, I get to interview Keith Pope with Empire Home Loans.
Hello.
And I asked Keith to come on because what Empire Home Loans does is a little bit different. So if you're thinking, oh, this is another lender, no, this is not another lender. This is a very unique lender. And so we are going to bring you some information that hopefully will pique your curiosity and answer a few questions. We're going to cover manufactured homes in parks, and also first-time home buyers. So if you are thinking that your future home plans might include a manufactured home of any kind, then you really need to listen in. This is going to be fun. So welcome, Keith, and thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes.
Manufactured homes in parks. We started about 10 years ago. We were doing probably one a quarter. And with the way the pricing increase has gone on homes, we're now doing about 10 a month. And So it's really a growing and booming industry. Originally, we were doing them. They started up about $60,000, and nowadays they can go up to a couple $100,000. And what we're finding is we kind of have two different buyers for those. One typically is the people that just really can't afford a stick-built home nowadays because of the affordability. The other actually is a lot of retired people now are actually downsizing. They're selling their big homes. Yeah. They're getting into a manufactured home in a park because a lot of times the grounds are maintained, things of that nature. So there's a couple different demographics for those. But the manufactured home process is totally different process. It is underwritten totally different because these are considered personal property loans. Mm-hmm. It's actually, you don't own the land, obviously, and the home itself is considered kind of like a glorified car or a glorified motorhome. They actually have a vehicle title.
Yeah.
So we have two options actually for financing. One is through a credit union. The credit union requires a minimum score of 660. Mm-hmm. It is a 20-year term. They do require 5% down. Plus your closing costs. If you were to put 10% down, you can actually finance 3% of your closing costs.
Really?
A lot of our manufacturers actually try to come up with 5% and then get their realtor to negotiate the closing costs and have the seller pay them, which is an option.
That is my favorite.
But the other is a lender is a financial institute that we use. Now the credit scores through them is actually a little less. We can go down to a 580. Mm-hmm. It does still require 5% down. Again, with the 10% down, you can finance 3% of the closing costs. And that's on a 25-year term.
Okay.
What's nice about being in a park is you don't have to have a foundation inspection. There are no tie-downs required or straps. You do have to qualify with the payment and the park rent.
That
as well.
Is a big deal because I've seen park rent be anywhere from $700 to $1,400.
Oh, it can be crazy, and each park is different. So the one thing we actually will not do is issue an approval without having the exact property address, so that we can research and make sure that everything is kosher. So when we issue that approval for you, you know it's going to be a legit approval.
Yeah, and I think that's the right thing to do for the buyer because then they have no questions about the budget.
Yeah. Few little things. It does require the home must be built before June 15th, 1976. There are programs available for older homes, but they require a lot more down payment. And
so we want them to be newer than June 15th?
June 15th of 1976. And they started issuing HUD tags on that date back in 76.
Okay.
So that's kind of the cutoff for the lenders, is they want to see a HUD tag. Mm-hmm. Appraisals are done quite differently on these. The appraiser actually complies his research and submits it to a central portal to complete the report, and that can basically just lead to a little slower turn time. Okay. So the typical closing time on these is around 45 days versus 30 days for a home loan. Mm-hmm. But other than that, you find the right home with the right park rent, and they can be very affordable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can be.
So,
especially when you take out things like, I'm not going to pay for lawn care anymore.
Exactly.
And now I get a community, usually get some sort of community amenity like a clubhouse or something like that.
Yeah, a lot of them have a gated community even,
Yeah.
which is and that's what I was talking about earlier with the older folks. You know, it gives them a sense of security as well.
Yeah.
So it's pretty simple. I mean, we're doing we do tons of them. We get lots of calls on these. Please reach out to us if you think it's an option for you.
Yeah, and especially knowing that they could do about 5% down or 10% down. We're still not talking about a 20% down payment.
Correct.
Even at a lower price rate, that's a lot of money.
Yes, and the interest rate is typically a little bit higher on these loans, a little shorter term, but affordability when you're buying $100,000 or a $200,000 manufactured home. The other thing is owning your own home and ownership is something that just can't be spoken enough of. You know, we get folks that are renting and they can't stand the neighbors or the dog barks or the smoker next door, or the landlord is upping their rent, or and there's so many ors, you can just go on and on and on.
Yeah.
So the fact that you can own your own home, they still create equity, and ownership, and equity obviously creates wealth.
Yes. So if you can stay there for 10 or 20 years, it's still going to appreciate. You're still going to get not only your money's worth out of it, but hopefully something to sell at the end.
Yeah. Now, a quick thing on these is there are no co-signers available
Good point.
on the homes in a park, and whoever is on the loan, you basically have to live there as well. So you have to have ownership. So that's the only little kicker, perhaps. Whereas now there are manufactured home loans on their own land, which we also do as well.
Yes. And then that gives you tons of flexibility. You don't have to be over 55. You don't have to deal with park rent. But there's some other strings attached.
Correct. There are and aren't. Again, they have to be June 15th of 1976 for most loans.
Yeah.
I do have FHA and conventional, so it does require a lower down payment than 5%.
Yay.
The ability to own your own land and have a garden and do whatever you want. And again, the manufactured homes tend to be less expensive than a stick built, so it's an affordability issue a lot of times on manufactured homes on their own land.
Yeah.
Most manufactured homes on their own land do have to have a foundation inspection, which will have to be certified. They also have to be what they call title eliminated. If you remember, I told you that these manufactured homes basically are glorified motorhomes. They have a vehicle title. So being title eliminated quite simply means that they're attached to the property, they have a foundation, and they are deemed taxable. So they basically eliminate the vehicle title and have a title, what they call title elimination. That's the word.
You're right. Because they're never going to be
and they become
moved
real
again.
property at that point.
So because they're never going to be moved again, they're now attached to the property. Now we have real estate.
Correct.
Instead of car loan.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, if the manufactured home has been moved more than once, we can still do those loans as well.
You can?
Yes.
Okay.
So I have options upon options for these. I don't want to go into all of it, but
but if we're curious, then call Keith and call Empire.
Yeah.
Home
Now
Loans.
the other nice thing is the VA loan. The VA benefits possibly can have options with zero down.
Okay.
As well. So VA buyers zero down. Other buyers low down payments on
That's awesome.
lands on their own land. And again, it's if the vehicle or if the home is older than 1976, I do have a portfolio loan. It's typically a shorter term, a little more down payment, but there are options for the older homes as well. So I don't know. Any other questions? Have I missed anything?
No, that was really thorough because I was curious. I haven't had a transaction where the manufactured home was on its own land yet, but I have a lot of people curious about it. I wasn't sure how that title was going to be handled. I had assumed, the title has to switch from being chattel and personal property, but I didn't know how that was going to happen.
Yeah, it's a title elimination process. And again, the foundation inspection, but you have a 30-year term available, lower down payment.
That's awesome.
And I think it's a great way, again, to create ownership. A lot of times, folks are buying this for the land as much as the home.
I agree. Yeah.
And then I've seen situations where they buy the manufactured home, they own the land as well. In the future, they build their own home, and the manufactured home is an ADU.
I love it.
So there's options available for, just to create ownership versus just
build their barn. They can add the horses. They can have all the acreage they've ever wanted. Their own private oasis.
Exactly. And if you think about this, if you're renting right now, Nikki, and you're spending $2,000 a month in rent. Mm-hmm. In 3 years, you would have spent $72,000 to your landlord just for the right to live in his house.
Yeah.
So, if you're renting, there are a lot of options, and I guess that's my lead into the next section, which is first-time homebuyer information.
Yeah.
There's a lot of misnomers on first-time homebuyers information. A lot of homebuyers think they have to come up with 20% down or more. You know what I mean?
They don't.
Yeah, I at our networking group, I did a roundtable the other day, and I asked how much down payment you think you have to buy a home, and I got answers on a $400,000 home from $40,000 to $20,000 to $10,000. There was a realtor in the group that actually said zero.
That was me. I said zero.
Okay, so she knows what she's talking about. So, the main thing is for first-time buyers is you have to have a work history. 2-year work history is what they require. Yeah. It doesn't mean you have to be on your same job for 2 years. Mm-hmm. You just have to show a 2-year work history, okay? Also, you probably need to know what your credit history is like. I know once a year for free you can go to the credit bureaus and ask them for a report. Mm-hmm. It's a free report. Keeps you informed on what your credit's like.
Yeah.
There are multiple scenarios for down payment. There are actually programs for veterans, again, that have 0% down with the right benefits. Kind of a neat little thing that we worked on the other day is there's a USDA loan, which is a government loan that is.
Yes.
It's basically designed for rural areas like Roy, perhaps, Centralia. I know there's parts of Spanaway that actually have USDA loans available, and it's a zero down program. So theoretically, if you qualified for a USDA loan and you got the buyer to pay for the closing costs, you could really get into a home with little to nothing down.
Yeah, even though it's you have to know that you fit the bill, right? You have to be going for a rural area. You have to be going for all these different things.
Yeah, obviously you have to qualify.
Yeah,
as well.
You have to qualify.
Your debt to income is one thing. The other thing on these homes that you have to understand is there's taxes and insurance that are included as well as the payment. But you don't have to put 20% down to buy a house.
Yeah.
Don't think if you're renting, just contact a mortgage broker and explore your options.
Absolutely.
I think you'd be surprised at what's available out there for them right now.
Yeah.
So if you put less than 20% down, you may have to have mortgage insurance, which is to protect the lender.
Yeah.
But that after a while can be once you're done, you pay on the house a while, you can refinance it and eliminate that mortgage insurance.
Yeah, and the mortgage insurance adds maybe $200.
Yeah, I've seen it $100 to $200. I mean, it's kind of different depending on what loan you're getting.
Right. It usually isn't something that's going to break the bank and make you feel like I can't afford this house at all. That's part of what you do is you make sure that even with the private mortgage insurance, you're going to be good. You can afford this. Your debt to income ratio with your housing, it's all going to work out.
Yeah. Now, one thing I kind of passed over is the 2-year work history. They like to see a 2-year work history, and on the manufactured homes, they like to have what were my notes here?
So
I'd have to edit this out.
If you're for manufactured homes in parks,
what the lender likes to see on a manufactured home is a 24-month installment loan payment history. Okay. So and what I mean by an installment loan is typically like a car loan or something like that. So if you just have credit card debt, perhaps you would not qualify.
Mm.
Now, the one thing that the lender we can also use is if you can provide a 2-year rental history of paying your rent on time, obviously. A lot of times we can use that to help you qualify if you don't have 2 years of installment loan history to qualify for a loan.
All right, so maybe for young people today who are still living at home, if you have a car payment, then pay that car payment consistently for 2 years. Would that be helpful?
That would most likely qualify with the right down payment, and Yeah.
And then working, does it have to be at the same job, at the same employer?
No, you don't have. You have to have a 2-year work history, but it does not have to be 2 years at the same employment. In fact, if you were a student going to college for, say, 6 months, and then you got a job and you were working for a year and a half, that shows a 2-year history of what basically you've been doing. So a lot of times that would also help us get you qualified.
So if you went through electrician training and then you became an electrician, then it's the total amount of time.
Exactly.
Oh, that fast tracks a lot of things, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Well, that's really good news.
So
yeah,
it's exciting. It's a great time to buy right now. It really is.
Thank you.
I mean, my golly, we all saw what happened when the interest rates were at 3%, and they had this form called the 22 AD.
Oh boy.
Oh my God.
Yes.
And what that form basically said was, I'm going to pay you the price you want for your house, plus I'm going to pay you up to $20 or $40 or $100,000 more just to buy your house. And I think what's going to happen right now is the prices are down. There's a lot of inventory right now that's recently came on the market.
Yep.
And a lot of sellers are anxious to sell.
Yes. So
they're willing to negotiate closing costs, sometimes even price, sometimes both.
Yep.
Even though the rates are higher than they were in the past, they're lower than they were a year or so ago. And next year, the federal government is projected to drop them even more. So once those rates start dropping, what's going to happen? The prices of the houses are going to start going
we'll have
up.
More buyers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a smart time to buy. It's a smart time to invest.
I agree.
And at a later date, you can always refinance that and lower your payment or do anything you want to do in that regards.
Now, you've been in this industry long enough that you've seen the cycles of election years. So since we're in, this episode will air probably right after the election results. How have you seen this play out?
Well, 2 years ago, when the rates jumped up to around 8%, everyone was asking me, well, when are rates going to come down? When are rates going to come down? And quite frankly, I told them when the election happens, because what happens is the incoming president is going to, the rates are going to go down, and the incoming president is going to say, woe is me, and flex his muscle, or her muscle, I should say. And say it was all because of me, But the feds dropped the prime rate by 0.5%. They're projected to do it again shortly, and they're projected to do it next year by 1% completely. So rates will fluctuate, But I will tell you this: God only made so much dirt, and. From the 50s to 60s to 70s to 80s to 90s, all the way up to 2024, the housing prices have not dropped. They've fluctuated a little bit, but look at the scale, Nikki. They've went from here to here, and it's not going to change. So it's a prime time to buy a house, create wealth. Even if it's not your dream home,
I agree.
It would be super smart to buy a house, and in a year or so, take the equity and upgrade, or make it a rental and buy another one. I mean, there's so many options with real estate. Some of the richest people in the world got their wealth through real estate.
Yeah.
So
I think now is a great time to buy, because there's fewer buyers that are in the market in October, November, December, January.
Exactly.
There's just fewer buyers. So this is a huge opportunity for anyone who wants to be serious about buying. There's more houses and fewer competition. If you can move in the middle of the year, then let's move in the middle of the year.
Yeah, come springtime. I mean, it's everyone wants, come springtime, I guarantee it, prices are going to
They always
go
do.
up, and there's going to be more buyers, and I mean, it's just something that's happened over the years.
Yeah.
So, but I would recommend this if you don't think you're quite ready to buy.
Mm-hmm.
I would at least have you reach out to us, and let's at least pre-qualify you, see what you can buy, if anything.
I think that's really important for people to know that they can come to a lender and start talking, because you can give them better advice about, oh, I see where you're at. What if we shifted a few things, and that would put you in a stronger position?
Yeah, we've actually got a program where we don't have to pull hard pulls on your credit. We can pull a soft pull.
Mm-hmm.
And if your credit score isn't exactly where it needs to be, we have a program that would allow us to tell you, hey, pay this card down a little bit, pay that loan off, and it will increase your score to this amount, so I can get you A, either qualified, or B, higher rates or higher scores obviously get lower rates.
Yes. I love
so,
that.
Yeah.
I love that. So it's
there's
always
a lot of
good
options. There's a lot of options out there.
Mm-hmm.
Professional mortgage brokers are a key to helping you prepare.
Yes.
So.
And now as we were walking in the room, you were telling me you also do construction loans?
We do construction loans, VA construction loans. My gosh, I was telling Nikki we kind of try to specialize in the unknown.
Yeah.
You know?
So if there's anything that isn't a common knowledge thing.
Yeah, common knowledge, or a lot of loan programs out there. These lenders try to specialize in different programs
Mm-hmm.
to create opportunity for the lender, obviously.
Yeah.
So, I mean, literally daily there are programs that come out from lenders like, 90% cash out refis with no mortgage insurance. There are just multiple programs for investors, for construction loans, for first-time buyers. I mean, I can go on and on about programs that are available. We do commercial loans, residential, land loans. I mean, there are so many more loans that are available for those people that want to invest, that just other than just first-time buyers as well.
That's awesome.
So,
yay. So bring your dreams, bring your ideas. Let's talk.
Let's talk. Exactly.
Talk. I love it. Thank you.
Let's find a way. I don't like the word no.
Yes.
I hate the word no. So
right.
Let's find a way.
Let's find a way. Let's make it work.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fantastic.
So,
yay. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. I appreciate the time.
So if you liked what you heard, or you're curious, I'm going to have all of Keith's information in the show notes, and of course Empire Home Loans and all of that contact info as well. So if you're looking in the Tacoma, Puyallup, Pierce County area, just give us a call. We can help you get out there, and we will get you home.
You can also find us at Team Pope Home Loans as well.
Team Pope Home Loans.
So thank you again,
Empire
Nikki.
and Team Pope.
Correct. We're kind of Empire. Team Pope Home Loans is powered by Empire Home Loans.
Got it. Yes.
So
Nikki Robbs Homes at Theory Real Estate.
There you go. There you go.
All right. Well, we'll make sure you get Keith and not just anybody.
Thank you.
All right.
Again.
Have a great day, everybody.